Hey friends, I'm Casey and this is Let's Tell Their Story. In the United States alone, over the past 40 years, over 200,000 cases have gone unsolved. Whether that be missing persons, unsolved murders, or unsolved suspicious deaths, I'm here to tell you the stories about the cases that were never solved. I hope I can bring light to these cold cases that just sit and collect dust. I go through every case with as much research as I possibly can and give you the knowledge that I was able to find. So grab your warmest blanket, find a comfy spot to relax, and let me tell you a story. If you're doing chores like washing dishes, laundry, or even at work, it's okay. You can listen to Story Time. Hi there, my beautiful and handsome pupils. Are you guys ready for a story? This is Casey with Let's Tell Their Story. I don't just have one story for you today. I actually have two. I have the stories of Catherine Ann Cesnik and Roberta Robin Elam. Now, their cases aren't connected, and there's no connection to the possibility that they could be connected. I just found that their life patterns kind of correlated with each other, and I felt like it wouldn't be too bad to put these two together and I can get a longer episode. I know some of you prefer the longer ones. So let's jump into this story. So Catherine Ann Cesnik, she was born in Lawrenceville, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh, on November 17th, 1942. Weird. I actually know two people with the same birthday. Her parental grandparents were Slovenian immigrants from Yugoslavia. Sometimes words are hard. Kathy also had three siblings. Now, when I said that Catherine and Roberta have a lot of similarities, they really do, because they're both have three siblings, so they're both of them are families of 4 children. Now, with Kathy and Roberta, there's also the fact that with Kathy, I know for a fact that she had at least one sister, and the other 2 siblings, I don't know if it was 2 brothers, a brother and a sister. And with Roberta, I know she had at least one brother, and the other 2, again, not sure if they were sisters or if they were more brothers, but so it appears that Catherine, who went by Kathy, and I'll be jumping back and forth between Kathy and Catherine when I talk about her, she seemed to have taken her schooling very seriously. She attended St. Mary's School in her elementary years and St. Augustine High School, where in 1960, her graduating year, she was the valedictorian of her class. She was the class president and also the May Queen. Now, what the heck is a May Queen? I was wondering that myself. So, a May Queen, what they do is they are responsible for jump-starting the springtime events for May Day, which May Day is May 1st, and the May Queen rides or walks at the beginning of a May Day parade, and she is usually wearing a white gown that represents purity. Now, when I say the two, Catherine and Roberta, are connected, this representation of purity actually plays into both their cases. And the May Queen also adores a tiara or crown upon her head. And then the May Queen and other age-appropriate ladies They will dance around the maypole to kick off the springtime event after the May Queen has given her speech. Now, I kind of get how this works, and she probably had a pretty busy summer. That summer of 1960 when she was May Queen, where my hometown, actually the town I went to high school in, they have what is called 17. Mai, which is May 17th, and it's a Norwegian holiday. Kind of represents the same kind. I wouldn't say it has something to do with the birthday of Norway or something like that. I'm not really sure, but I know there's always a 17. Mai princess, and there were three technical royalties. So you had your 17. Mai princess, your 17. Mai first attendant and second attendant. I believe that's the order that goes. But they all summer long they're going to fairs and other kind of events. Let's get back into the story. Enough about personal life. So after she did all of her May Queen duties, she joined the School Sisters of Notre Dame, which that fall when she turned 18. So, and she went to continue her education to become a drama and English teacher. Kathy did end up landing herself a job as a drama and English teacher in a private Catholic school, girls' school at the Archbishop Keough High School in Baltimore, Maryland. She seemed to be a pretty strong teacher, and she was someone that the girls would confide in, and they did. So some of the girls, they had gone to Sister Kathy, as she was known as, and they were stating that they were being sexually abused by the Keough's chaplain, Joseph Maskell. Kathy seemed to be the only one that was willing to listen to these girls, and she was the only one that seemed to believe them, and she would do anything to do something about this, to make things right for these girls that deserved justice. And unfortunately, you will find out these poor girls do not ever actually get any freaking justice. So Kathy, she actually confronted the chaplain about the allegations. It's unclear when she had confronted him, but on the evening of November 7th, 1969, 10 days before Kathy's 28th birthday, she left her apartment that she shared with Helen Russell Phillips at the Carriage House Apartments. She left and went to Catonsville, where she cashed her paycheck at the First National Bank, and then went to the Edmondson Village Shopping Center to purchase a gift for her sister's engagement. And also, while she was there, she may have purchased a package of buns. And that would be the events that took place the last time Catherine Ann Cesnik would be seen alive. The next morning, on November 8th, the friends of Kathy's roommate Helen's arrived at 4:40 a.m. and these friends happened to be the Catholic priest Peter McKeon and Gerard J. Cobb. I'm not sure if Gerard Cobb was a priest or not. But they noticed that Catherine's car was illegally parked and it was in muddy conditions across the street from the apartment complexes. Now, one, I'm usually at my full-time job by before 4:40 a.m. But if I didn't have to be to work and clocked in by 5 a.m., I would be so pissed if somebody was showing up at my door at 4:40 in the morning. I'm sorry. Just, residents of the complex, they had seen Kathy's car parked illegally in that same parking spot and in muddy conditions the night before around 8:30. And then there was other residents of the complex that claimed to see it later, about 2 hours later at 10:30 p.m. Okay, these people are complete idiots. Obviously, if it's there at 4:40 a.m. and somebody's seen it at 8:30 a.m., it obviously never left the location, which really means that the people that seen it at 10:30 were going to see it at 10:30. Now, okay. Those girls that had confided in Kathy about being sexually assaulted by the kiosk chaplain, Joseph Maskell, in 1995, those two had filed a lawsuit against the school. However, their statute of limitations had ran out. The trial court had dismissed the action as time barred by the statute of limitations. So what do? They appealed this. It went to the Maryland Court of Appeals. They upheld the lower court decision, which they ruled, their ruling was that, and this is quote, that the mental process of repression of memories of past sexual abuse does not activate the discovery rule, unquote. Okay, now, this was so much better when I recorded it the first time. Repression of memories. That is where something extremely horrid has happened to you in the past and you suppress the memory. They're basically saying that because these girls suppress something so horrible and possibly going through therapy or some nightmarish dream or something like that, brought this back up. So the court is saying that it's discovered. Okay, you repressed a memory. You didn't bury a body. You didn't bury a time capsule. So the girls, they did not stop at getting justice. Because this was in 95 that they filed, but the first allegations that were made public were in 94. And those were not just against Maskell, but they were also against the school gynecologist, Christian Richer, the School Sisters of Notre Dame, the Archdiocese of Baltimore, and the Cardinal William H. Keeler. There were allegations that Joseph Maskell had trafficked out the girls to officers who would in turn take turns raping these girls while Joey Boy sat back and talked and laughed with the other officers that were basically waiting their turns. one of the girls, I have the names of these plaintiffs and plaintiffs' girls, whatever you want to call them. It is not my responsibility to put these names out there. They're not even responsibility. They have the right to be anonymous when given the chance to, even though their names are public and you can find them if you look hard enough. So you don't even have to look that hard. But one of the girls had claimed in her lawsuit that Joey Boy, I'm just going to refer to him as Joey Boy, because most Joeys that I've ever met, they're weird. He had taken her to a wooded area outside of Fort Meade and had shown her a female body that was deceased, and it happened to look a lot like the young lady that he took out there. When she was taken to this wooded area and shown the deceased body, she basically, I can only imagine, probably fell to the ground, knees, and she was cleaning maggots off, like sweeping and brushing maggots off of the dead body, and probably crying and screaming. I don't know if she was screaming. She may have been just, she kept repeating, "Help me, help me." And this is where allegedly Joey Boy told her, "See what happens when you say bad things about people?" Yeah, Joey's an asshole. Now, that body was not that of Catherine Ann Cesnik. Kathy would not be found for another 2 months. That body that Joey took the former girl to was found by hunters on November 13th, 1969. And it was the unfortunate body of Joyce Helen Malecki. And I will do an episode on her in the near future. I just happened to come across it when I was doing the research for Catherine and Roberta, which I didn't really have time to throw Joyce in there, and you'd end up with almost a 3-hour episode. A little bit about Joyce. She had disappeared on November 11th of 1969. She was 20 years old, an American office worker from Baltimore, and she was employed at a liquor distributor. Why can't... Wow, that was a word. She had disappeared on the 11th of November, and she was found 2 days later at the Soldier Park training area of Fort Meade. Now, there is a Netflix documentary called The Keepers that brings both of these ladies up, and probably a few others. I have never watched any of this series. It's, I believe, from what I've seen, it's a 7-episode documentary series, and there is allegedly a possible connection between Joyce and Catherine's murders. When Catherine was finally found, it would also be by hunters, but not until January 3rd of 1970. And where Catherine was found was in a completely different area. She was found on top of an open hill trash dump that happened to belong to a small business property in Lansdowne. When it was discovered that her cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. Now, is the sequence? I'm doing it again. Now. And this is funny. So, it being November in Maryland, right? Granted, it's only January here in Wisconsin. But it was pretty warm in November of last year. Which is so weird saying last year. It's only been 2 months. You wouldn't think it would be warm enough for maggots. But the highs in November of 1969 were around 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which were enough of high enough temperatures for maggots to reproduce or breed, or I know there's another word, I just can't think of it. So I do have some good news though. In 2001, Joey Boy there, he died of a stroke. Yay. We're kind of coming to the end of Catherine's story. In 2015, there were 3 more allegations of sexual assault and trafficking towards Joey Boy there. So in 2016, Joseph Maskell's body was exhumed, but unfortunately the DNA did not match. However, he's not been taken off the suspect list because I'm getting my stories connected. Okay. But they haven't taken him off as a suspect, even though his 2016 DNA didn't match the DNA samples from the 1970s. In 2023, the Baltimore Catholic Archdiocese, they ended up filing for bankruptcy. And it is said that their bankruptcy was a very big contributing factor to Sister Cesnik's murder. So something kind of good came out of it, which kind of sucks for the girls, but sometimes things need to do what things need to do. Now on to Roberta Robin Elam. Roberta was born in Minnesota to Mary and Bob Elam. She was the oldest of 4 children, and she was born on August 23rd, 1950. Again, not much known about her childhood. Her brother, Chris, basically had said that Roberta was a very outspoken young lady. And she seemed like she would have been some cool shit to hang around. She drove an orange sports car. She was athletic. She wrote poetry. She had a mouth on her, as you'll find out here in a little bit on this story. She went to Fordham University in New York, where she studied theology. And eventually, back her up. Well, she was growing up. Her dad, Bob, he was an ITT sales manager in Minnesota, then in Illinois, and then eventually he and his family settled in Allendale, New Jersey. Roberta went by her middle name Robin, where a lot of people back then would do that. I actually had a great-grandmother that went by her middle name, and to this day, I don't even know what her real first name was. I know who she was, but she will always be Grandma Lily. She was my great-grandmother. So, Robin, from here on out, I'll refer to Roberta as Robin. I know, it feels like I'm so all over the place, but my brain just not there today. It wasn't there yesterday. It's there today. I hope it's there today. I'm not sure what's wrong with me. If you can figure it out, go for it. Robin eventually moved to West Virginia after she graduated from Fordham University. She would move into the Mother House the Mother House Mount St. Joseph in Wheeling, West Virginia, where she worked as a coordinator of adult religious program diocese of Wheeling, West Virginia. This is where I'm going to let you know part of what I'm going to let you know about Robin. About her being, she was outspoken, and she was really passionate about the social justice issues. She even told her brother Chris that she wanted to be a priest, and that she felt it was ludicrous that women couldn't be priests. Yes, you see where this is going, right? Now do you see the connection between Robin and Catherine? Sister Cesnik? And now I'm going to introduce you to Sister Robin. Quentin, you're lucky I don't have the nun out. This was in June of 1977 where she moved into the Mother House. She was only 26 at the time. She was not a nun yet. She was a This word's got me yesterday. It's gonna get me again today. She was a pre-nun candidate, or a postulant nun, which is a nun that is in the process of becoming a nun, but not a full-fledged nun yet. I did not grow up Catholic. The Catholic Church was down the street from where I grew up. Every Wednesday afternoon, there was cars lined up the street. Every Sunday, there was cars lined up the street, because when you grow up in a town of less than 800 people, only one of the two churches in town can have a parking lot until 40 years later and two houses burned down. Rant over. On June 13th, 1977, around 10:30 a.m., Sister Robin, she was starting her 8-day silent retreat, because she wasn't really sure what she wanted to do with her life. She wasn't 100% sure if she wanted to become a nun, if she wanted to do something else. She wasn't really 100% sure. So that morning, she went into the Mother House kitchen. She grabbed an apple and her Bible. She headed out about 100 yards behind the building, where there was a peaceful spot with a bench where many of the nuns would go and pray and whatnot. And on the backside from what I can gather, it's I'm just going to be kind of a visual picture, or visualize what I am visualizing. If you can see what I'm visualizing, I am talking in circles. I am sorry. It seems as though the back was like a hilled area. She'd go up the hill, the bench was up there, and on the back side of the hill was the golf course. Unfortunately, Sister Robin, with her starting her 8-day silent retreat, which meant she was silent. Obviously, I don't know how to do that because I'm here sitting here talking to a microphone, talking to myself, talking to you guys. She was found around 2 p.m. by the caretaker. The caretaker had found Sister Robin's body about 40 yards from the bench. The bench had been tipped over. Sister Robin's blouse and bra had been pulled up. Her pants and underwear had been pulled down. It appeared that she was attacked while she was praying. She didn't have any defensive wounds, which I'm going to go back to the fact that was because of her 8-day silent retreat, because this girl don't seem like she was going to be putting up with shit. She was incapacitated, raped, and strangled. It was thought that the killer had came from behind. However, there were thumbprints on Sister Robin's throat that had determined that was not the case. So, first thought, golfers. Nope, they were all cleared. However, there is a pretty big suspect, and this is why I made the comment about it being the 8-day silent retreat, goes to the fact that a few days prior, Sister Robin, she had words with a salvage company worker from Atlanta, Georgia, because this man had the audacity to say obscene remarks about nuns. Sister Robin wasn't having it. Nope, she was not. She was not having it at all. Nope. She told him what she thought of him. But all those workers were cleared. There was, however, a man in the area that seemed to be a possibility. This suspect had dark hair. He was a white man, about 6 feet tall. Drove a blue-gray Impala. How do you miss those? That time of year, those are big cars. It's when I started driving. When I first started driving, it was in a car the same size. The suspect was between 30 and 33 years old. He had 3 religious stickers on his car. Whether it was on his bumper, in the window, on the trunk, hard to say. And then you gotta throw a small brown poodle that was with him. Of course, there's gotta be a puppy dog. Poor puppy. Poor puppy. The puppy didn't do nothing. The puppy didn't do nothing wrong. No, he did. Or she. Puppy didn't do nothing wrong. Now, that leads me to a even bigger suspect. Now, I don't know the details on this guy, because this guy knows shit. This guy knows shit he shouldn't know. But the details on this guy, like the description, I couldn't find a description on him. So he may fit that suspect description. He may not. Anyway, his name is John Shoplick. I'm hoping that's pronounced right. It's either Shoplick or Shoplack. I'm going Shoplick. Shoplick. Shoplack. Shop. We're just gonna call him John. But we get it. We get it. he was a local man that happened to tell one of his friends that he had killed a nun near Ogle Bay Park, which happened to be just a couple miles from the convent. And he knew details not released to the public. Now, however, his blood type was taken from his military records. His blood type didn't match the blood type that was found at the crime scene. However, according to Paul Holes, who did an episode on Sister Robin, again, I didn't watch this because I do my research differently. He said there was a fairly high error rates when it came to military blood type records back then. However, when they did the search of the area, there were no clues found in the area. Before Sister Robin, unfortunately, was murdered, there had been 4 other women in the Washington County, Pennsylvania area, which was less than a half an hour from the convent, that were raped and killed and buried in a similar manner. However, that whole serial killer for the 4 women, they know that the serial killer was for those 4, but they ruled him out for Sister Robin because the way she was strangled was different from the 4 other girls. The 4 other girls had actually been strangled with articles of their own clothing, where Sister Robin was strangled by bare hands. Now, John Shoplick, he had an ex-girlfriend that told police that at one point that John there had tried to choke her, and that John did not like Catholic people. Now, that's John has a long history of not being such a nice guy. He was also accused of 2 other rapes previously to Sister Robin's unfortunate ending. This son of a bitch, he also robbed his grandmother. This is not actually, it could be a Little Red Riding Hood situation, because hell, the wolf was nicer to grandma than John was to his. He robbed his grandma, and then he stole the ring off of her finger. But he didn't just take the ring, he took her whole damn finger. He cut his grandmother's finger off to get this ring. Then, to keep Granny over there quiet, he took a telephone wire and wrapped it around Grandma's neck. Yes, at one time there was a cord that went from the receiver to the handheld part, and then it went on a wall. I know my younger viewer or my younger listeners are like, "Oh my gosh, really? That happened?" Yes, it did happen. Shoplick, he admitted. Okay. When he admitted to that friend that he had killed a nun near Ogle Bay Park, he told this friend that he strangled the nun with his belt. Now, that's not how Sister Robin passed. She was strangled with bare hands. John had also told this friend, again, I have names, not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do that. He told his friend that the nun was either a virgin or on her period, because he got blood on him. Okay, one, you son of a bitch, you deserve to get blood on you because you raped and murdered somebody. Allegedly, if you did do this, you had this. You had it coming. However, Sister Robin was on her period. Now, even if she wasn't, I'm not going there. Because it's just going to get me all hot and bothered. Just not going to do it. Nope. And I know some of you love when I do it. Now, I got other cases I'm going to do that on. That's when we're going to go through those serial killers. I can't wait. I got some good ones for you guys. In 2019, though, I got some good news for you. John there, Shoplick, doesn't fucking matter what the hell his name was. In 2019, he was hospitalized, and he died. Maybe he was one of the first early cases of COVID that hit. Somebody got what was coming to him. Now, the Ohio County Sheriff's Office that is investigating the case, they are hoping to get tissue samples that possibly may have been taken at the hospital for a DNA profile from those tissues. And we're in 2024. Is there any answers on whether they did get those tissues? No, there's not any answers. Shocker, right? There's no answers because there might be answers that we don't know. A lot of times, officers or detectives or the departments, they keep things hush-hush so that you run into situations like John there, who had details that weren't released to the public. And this way they can examine things a lot further and whatnot. So, Sister Cesnik, she lost her life because she wanted to help girls and get justice for them. Sister Robin was doing something that was one of the most tranquil things a person could possibly do. Sitting at a bench, praying. And her life was taken from her. Both of these girls were under 30. Sister Cesnik didn't even make it to her 28th year of being on this planet. Sister Robin, she was only 26 when she passed away. We are 50 plus. Yes. Yeah, we're almost 70 years away from when this happened. And there's still no answers. Thankfully, these son of a bitches that probably did it are dead. But it would be nice to give the families, the Elam and the Cesnik families, some justice and some answers. And it's just not right. It's just not right. So I leave you with those two stories. And I will be looking more into the Joyce Malecki case for a later episode. Keep an eye out for that one. For my listeners out there, would you guys please do me a favor and rate and review the episodes on the platforms that you listen to this to? It really does help the algorithm get out there, so we can get our class bigger. We can get more beautiful and handsome pupils in our stories. Let me rephrase it, not in our stories. To listen to our stories. We don't want any more in our stories. We've got plenty of the stories to go. And it's not right that we've got so many stories to go. Let's make our class bigger, guys. If you want me to do a story, please, all means, send us a story suggestion into let's tell their story at gmail.com. Or you can even come to that, or go to that email, and if you have a story, a personal story, write it. If you want to say anonymous, let me know. If you want me to announce who you are, also, if you've got a story, like if you've got a story you want me to do, to look into, and I will give you the credit, as you'll be finding out, or you just found out. You should have just found out in the last episode. The case was actually a listener that happened to bring that case to me, and it was actually a fairly close case, and I didn't even know it it had been so long that I forgot it existed. What else do I want to tell you? Oh, go check out the Facebook page. Let's Tell Their Story. You can find the Instagram page. I'm going to tell you, there's not much on there because I just don't do the gram. I don't do Instagram. It's not that it's hard. It's just, I don't like it. Or you can get a hold of us on X at, I believe it's Let's Their Story, because it doesn't let you put in too many letters. Quentin does most, if not all, of the stuff on X, which is the former Twitter. We did have a listener that happened to be a family member of one of the cases that I did reach out to us. So, thank you, Lauren. If you're still listening, I'm hoping you're still listening. I don't know what else to tell you guys, but stay safe. But stay curious. Till next time, guys.